thanks for being here, everybody. I think I've introduced myself to just about everybody, but my name is Neal, and I'm the president of South Central Kentucky Community Technical College. And welcome to our Transpark campus. How many have been out here before? One of you. Fantastic, because we want to share some new things with you, some exciting things. We'll give you a tour, but you're going to get some hands-on fun things, learn some new skills, but hopefully open your eyes, just like we try to open the eyes of some of our students to possibilities out there. How many of you have been to any one of our 6 campuses? Okay, so not everybody has been on one of the Sky CTC campuses. Let me tell you a little bit about the college first, and then we'll talk about why this camp. Why is it so important that we do the kind of things that we're going to be doing this week? But South Central Kentucky Community Technical College has been around for more than 75 years. Not always under that name, but it has been around as an organization of education for many, many years. How many people in here grew up in Kentucky? So you probably know it under many other different names: Bowling Green Technical College, Bowling Green Area Vocational Center. Some people call it the trade school. Trade school. I hate that name. But there's all kinds of different forms that this organization has been under and names because of what the needs were of the community at the time. And when I say community, I mean region, not just Bowling Green. But when KCTCS, the system, was created in 1997 by Governor Patton, for those of you who grew up here, you probably remember there was a vocational system, and then there was a community college system run by the University of Kentucky. But the state didn't have a comprehensive community technical college system like many other states did. And so Governor Patton, in addition to some K-12 reform and really courageous decisions that were going on at that time, said we need higher educational reform as well. And we need to merge those two systems and create a world-class community technical college system that works side by side with K-12 and the university. So KCTCS was born. And what they did is they merged the community colleges run by UK, the technical institutes that were run by the state workforce cabinet, I think it was at the time. And out of that came 16 colleges. And so the goal was that all 16 colleges would eventually, someday, all be comprehensive in nature. And what does that mean? Well, comprehensive means that they both offer technical college degrees as well as what most people would call the transfer or general education college degrees. And not all of the 16 colleges at that time offered both routes. We were one of them, and then up in northern Kentucky in Covington, that was the other one. We just didn't have a community college to merge with. So we were a technical college that grew into the comprehensive nature by bringing on the general education, what most people would call the transfer degrees, but even today, every degree we offer, technical or general education, transfers because of the great transfer reform that we have had in this state and great partnerships with organizations like Western Kentucky University and many others. And so the other goal for the Community Technical College was to become accredited by the highest accreditation body in the land. And for us, that's SACS. And many of your schools are accredited by the K-12 arm of SACS. Well, there's a higher education arm of SACS that we're accredited by, Western, UK, and now all 16 community and technical colleges, all public universities in the state of Kentucky, are all accredited by SACS. That means we're all achieving very high standards. Transferability is possible because that we're all accredited. We have that seal of approval. So that's a little bit about how community technical colleges came about. One of the things I find, I've been here 7 years now, I'll be beginning my 8th year this summer, is that a lot of people still know us as BG Tech or the trade school or some of those sorts of things. One of the things that I often hear, and I typically hear it from people who have been around this area for 40, 50 years or more. They'll say, well, I've got some students who, they're not really college material. They need to come to you guys. And I think, what does that mean? They're not college material. We're a college. I think what most people mean is they're not ready for the university environment, but they need something a little smaller. But even some folks that are really strong proponents of the college, I just had a conversation a couple of weeks ago with one. He's been a community leader for many years. He still did not realize this college offers college degrees. He did not realize our technical programs are college degrees, preparing people for wonderful careers. And I use the word careers very intentionally. That we prepare people for careers in all kinds of industry sectors. We've got our business sector, business IT, and hospitality sector. We've got We've got our manufacturing sector, healthcare sector, education sector. We prepare people to go on either directly into the workforce after they finish a degree with us, or transfer all those credits to Western, and others to continue their education and then enter the workforce at that point, or go on to graduate degrees and then enter the workforce. They're all entering the workforce. The question is, how far do they have to go in their education in order to enter the workforce in their chosen career? So that's a little bit about the college. A little bit about this campus, which is kind of unique, and you're going to see a couple of different campuses from what I understand throughout the camp. This campus right here, the Transpark campus, was built and opened in 2006. And it was open about the time they were trying to create this industrial park here and trying to bring in more industries into the area. One of the big industries they were bringing in at the time was Bowling Green Metal Forming, the big blue industry that you see kind of down the road here on the other side of Grec and the Warren County Area Technology Center. And that industry is one of the largest employers in the area. But part of the economic development package that they presented to their master company, which was the Magna Corporation, they said, if you put a plant here, we will, excuse me, we will build an educational training center for you in the industrial park to train people for your company. And then hopefully, the goal was that hopefully other companies would come as well. And so that's how this campus really came to be. At the time, several of the folks that are in the room, we have Mike Greer in the back, Gene Basil, Brian Sparks, they were working with the students out here. I don't want to leave out Christina, but she wasn't working with the students at the time out here. They were working with students in an apprenticeship program out here for these companies, where these students would go to school. They would be employed first, then come to school out here 5 days a week, full-time, 40 hours a week for 2 years, get their degree, and then go to work. Well, then the recession hit, and they pulled all the employees out of those apprenticeship programs, and we were left with an empty campus. So we said, what do we do? Well, we looked around and we brainstormed. We said, we've got different programs that feed the manufacturing sector on a number of our different campuses. What if we were to pull together the best of our equipment and put them out there at the Transpark campus and really make this thing a manufacturing center of excellence? And that's exactly what we did. And now it's grown, and we barely have parking spaces out here during the semester. And we have a number of programs that you will see today. So that's a little bit about this campus. We have 5 other campuses, 2 more in Warren County, 1 in Simpson County, and 2 in Barron County. And we can go into detail, but I won't do that right now, about how those came to be. The college has really grown over the years. We've been one of the fastest growing colleges in the nation over the last 5-6 years, multiple times. Although now that the economy is getting better, our adult populations are going back to work, and most of our growth is happening in the high school populations. Half of our students now, excuse me, are under the age of 20. So we started thinking about what ways can we help to illuminate career opportunities out there, particularly for the youth, but also for our entire community, regardless of the folks' age. Folks that are looking for wonderful careers, and I use the word career intentionally, not job, but careers, because careers are something that you invest yourself in, that companies invest in you, grow you professionally, but it's also something that can help support strong families. It's something that you can look forward to. All of us in this room have dedicated ourselves to a particular career. Now, we may change at some point, but it wasn't just a job where we'll go pick up this job to pull in a few paychecks to get me through to the next month or to the next year. We've all really dedicated our lives to our chosen career. And so as we think about what was going on in the economy in this area, and we were working with the National Science Foundation, so what are the real needs of your area? Well, if you look at where economic development is really happening in South Central Kentucky, and Kentucky in general, manufacturing is one of the largest sectors. It's probably the fastest growing sector in our economy, with the largest number of new jobs, job growth, investment of resources into the economy. And we said, well, that is one area that we're heavily invested in as a college, because we have a number of programs that prepare people for manufacturing. One of the things that we found is that a lot of the manufacturing growth right now, that the companies are struggling, trying to find enough people to fill the jobs. And we thought, well, is that unique to South Central Kentucky? Well, it's not. It's unique to, it's not unique to even Kentucky, even though we're seeing it all across Kentucky. It's not unique to the United States, even though we're seeing it all across the United States. It's happening in Europe. It's happening in Japan. So we sit back and wonder why. why do we have so many opportunities for people with high-wage, high-demand jobs, but we're having a hard time getting people in the workforce to be interested in those careers? And when you start looking around at some of the surveys that have been done, year after year, I read these reports that are put out by the National Association of Manufacturers. They hire a big company called Deloitte. You've probably heard of Deloitte. They do these big surveys. Things are getting a little better in manufacturing, but what they have found is that over the years, manufacturing can go through periods of growth and periods of shrinkage depending on the economy, but the perception in the public's eye of what manufacturing is has not really improved. Too often we kind of have old perceptions of what manufacturing is and manufacturing careers, and parents don't tell their kids to think about manufacturing as a career opportunity because they think about what it used to be many years ago. They don't necessarily understand the advanced nature of manufacturing. And when I say manufacturing, I don't mean just production. I mean, these companies employ graphic artists, they employ business managers, they employ hospitality, they employ healthcare workers, but most people think traditionally of manufacturing in the production realm. And so if you go back a few years, 4 or 5 years, only about 1 in 5 parents were actually encouraging their kids to consider a career in some field that related to manufacturing. Well, today, it's about 1 in 3, which is a good sign, because parents are becoming more aware. But when they really dove into the data and said, who are the parents that are recommending, they found that the parents who actually knew what was going on in manufacturing, they understood, they were educated about it. 2 out of every 3 of those parents were recommending manufacturing. So just a simple act of educating people about what the possibilities are doubled the number of parents, doubled the percentage, I should say, of parents recommending that their kids consider that as an option. So that's when we sat back and said, hey, maybe this is something that we should look at too on helping to educate people who impact students' decisions on what they want to do as a career. And it's all of you. We started thinking about, well, do we bring in 30 kids in a camp? Well, we might reach a few of those kids, and they might tell a friend or two. But and what if we bring parents in? Well, we might reach a few of those parents, and they might tell a neighbor. But if we bring in the educators who are dealing with hundreds and hundreds of students every day, every year, maybe we could reach a few more kids. Maybe we could reach a few more parents that way. So it was really about capacity building when we thought about this camp. And so we're so excited to have y'all here, because what you're going to experience is a lot of things that we teach our students who have already chosen these career fields, but you're also going to meet employers. Like we got one of our employers in the back of the room there. He's going to talk to you about careers in his industry. And you might meet HR managers throughout the week, or you're going to go on tours of some of these places so you can see what's going on inside the walls of these manufacturing companies. So why, again, is manufacturing so important? Some of the latest data that I've seen is that just in South Central Kentucky alone, about 30% of the payrolls across all sectors comes from manufacturing. So it's really a key part of our employment pipeline here in South Central Kentucky. And why is economic development so focused on manufacturing? If you look at the economic development efforts in the 4 communities, I think, that are represented in the group, the P16 Council, from which all of you were recruited, most of the economic development efforts from the chambers, economic developers or whatnot, is focused on manufacturing. Now, it's going to be expanding here in the near future to include healthcare, but most of it's been on manufacturing. Part of the reason is that manufacturing brings dollars from other parts of the world into our local economy. Most of our industry sectors, healthcare, hospitality, service industry, business, in many of our business types of industries, we recirculate money. Education's a good example. You know, I have a job, I get paid a salary, I'm putting money into my daughter's education, it goes to the university, and it all kind of stays and recycles in the same community. Most of our dollars get recycled in the same community. It goes into utilities, it goes into food, it goes into our mortgages, our buying cars here. But we're not really bringing in, most of our industry sectors aren't bringing in a tremendous amount of money from outside in here. Well, manufacturing does that. It brings in millions and millions and millions of dollars into our local economy that then strengthens our economy. It goes into payroll, which then gets turned around, put into taxes, and taxes help fund K-12, higher education, hopefully better next year than it has in prior years. But that's one of the reasons that manufacturing is so heavy around here. I asked that very same question when I came here 7 years ago. Why are we so focused on manufacturing? Well, when they started talking to me about that, it made a heck of a lot of sense. But as we do that, we need to make sure that we've got a pipeline of employees, of trained folks who understand and visualize careers in that sector, in addition to healthcare and education and all these other sectors. It's not the sole thing we're focused on, but it's the one area where there's probably the most opportunity right now for our region. So that's why we chose this as a focus of our camp. That's probably more than you wanted to know about the college and the camp, but I wanted you to have some perspective so that as you go through this, you've got some perspective that maybe you can share with others about why manufacturing is so important to others. I did not come from a manufacturing family. I am a former psychology teacher and licensed professional counselor myself. I taught I coached high school basketball. I worked in community colleges and universities. And so I'm among my peeps here, you know, and I appreciate everything that y'all do because education is a thankless job. And anything that y'all can do to become more knowledgeable about ways that we can help our youth go on and prepare for futures that will lead to wonderful families, strong communities, is I think what we're all about. So I'm going to stop there. I can answer any questions that y'all have, but I think my time is up, and we've got some other folks that we want to get to today. But thank you so much for being here. Any questions that you have before my part's over? Could I see, could we just go around the room real fast and tell me your name and which county or school that you come from?
I'm Kristen Olson, and I teach chemistry at Bowling Green High School.
My name is Dina Dennis, and I teach mathematics at Greenwood High School.
And my name is Lisa Grimes. I teach mathematics specifically to special education population at Warren's High School.
Susan Morgan, I teach chemistry at Bowling Green High School.
Elisa Talley, I teach mathematics and chemistry at Bowling Green High School.
That's Neal Rourke. I'm the college and career readiness coach at Bowling Green High School.
Joshua Vaughn, I teach Algebra 2 at Simpson.
Drew Fulkerson, I teach math and computer science at Bowling Green High School.
I'm Holly Bush. I teach math at Greenwood High School.
Amy Irwin. I'm starting a new position with College and Career Development for Barron County.
Angie Frazier, Guidance Counselor at Barron County High School.
Lori Bunch, Guidance Counselor at Glasgow High School.
Rosemary Irwin, Special Education Teacher, Ward County.
Brandon Brown with CGS Machine and Tool.
Winnie Corin, currently unaffiliated.
Everybody knows Dr. Coron.
No, everybody does.
We love Dr. Coron. Mike?
Mike Greer. I teach out here. I teach computerized manufacturing and machining.
Mark Brooks. I'm the Public Relations Director at the college here.
Gene Basil. I have the good fortune of being a Director and the Dean of Advanced Manufacturing Technology at this campus.
Christina Tackett, Associate Professor of Biology, primarily at the Macon campus.
Brian Sparks, Associate Professor in the Engineering Technology Division.
And so those are some of the folks that you'll be seeing today. I want to thank these folks for spending so much time working with the National Science Foundation, putting this grant together so it's possible that we can all spend time together, and hopefully you'll have a great time this week and tell everybody about the camp next week. I understand that the newspaper had the dates wrong, so some of your folks that may be interested in this might see that the dates are further into June than they really are, but so spread the word. We still have some openings next week. Thanks again for being here. With that, I'll turn it over to Brian.
Thank you, sir. All right, well, welcome again. What we've got next on the schedule, we're going to go across the hall into our computer lab. Since this is a National Science Foundation grant-funded project, we've got some research background of this, which I'm sure a lot of you all are familiar with. So we've got some surveys that we need to complete that Dr. Foran has put together for us. So we will need to get a sign-in sheet. We'll pass that around once everybody gets into the computer lab and logged in. We have guest access accounts set up. So we'll get all that taken care of, and then we'll go through and get those surveys completed.
And I need to do a little bit of